let's go.
Ain't no other like we, running things so easy. Cross the country like ski, that's you, that's me, that's we, that's we. Ain't no other like we, running things so easy. Cross the country like ski, that's you, that's me, that's we, that's we. I'm a diamond, one of a kind, cut 10 face like a Gemini. I shine when I'm in the light, catch a knife, but I'm in a different climate. I'm a diamond, one of a kind, cut 10 face like a Gemini. I shine when I'm in the light, catch a knife, but I'm in a different climate. Ain't no other like we, running things so easy. Cross the country like ski, that's you, that's me, that's we, that's we.
Hi, I'm Angela.
And I'm Casey.
Hi, I'm Leslie.
And we are so excited to welcome you to our live virtual event to talk about the long-awaited Daxxify.
We encourage you to stick around to the end of the presentation for a live Q&A. You can submit all your questions via the questions tab.
Everyone in attendance tonight gets special event pricing, and that is purchase 80 units, receive 20 units complimentary, or purchase 100 units, get 30 units complimentary. Those specials will run through end of day tomorrow. Also, everyone in attendance will be entered for a giveaway for a completely complimentary Daxxify treatment.
We're so excited to offer this to you guys. Hopefully you enjoy the evening.
Daxxify is the newest neurotoxin to hit the market. It's actually the only neurotoxin that's made here in the United States. And what makes it special is that the specific formula that it has is intended to give you almost 1.5 to 2 times more longevity than traditional neurotoxins.
Daxxify is the only formulation that has a novel peptide that helps with its binding power. It has no animal or human byproducts in it as well.
Daxxify is a neurotoxin that is made to temporarily paralyze muscles that we use almost too much, that give us those wrinkles that kind of stick around for too long. So we can actually treat the glabella, also known as the 11s, between your eyebrows. We can treat your crow's feet, and we can also treat your forehead. After your injection with Daxxify, you'll start to notice that it kicks in a lot sooner than some of our other neurotoxins. You will start to see about day 3 or day 5 that it started to kick in, but of course give it your full 2 weeks to see your maximum results. And most of our patients that we have treated with Daxi are getting anywhere from about 5 to 7 months out of their product versus our other traditional products where you would only get 3 to 4 months.
There are a lot of patients that are good candidates for Daxxify, but for example, a really good candidate is someone who has tried neurotoxins and just can't get the longevity that they want out of the product. If you feel that you might want to learn more about Daxxify, you can always call for a free consult.
Hi everyone, this is Angela and I'm here today with Bridget.
Hi.
She's here to talk about toxins and more specifically, she's had toxins in the past and wants to think about using Daxxify and why that might be a good fit for her. So I know you've had toxins in the past. Did you have success with one better than the other?
I did. I always preferred Dysport when I got my toxin treatment.
How long did Dysport seem to last for you?
Probably that like 3 to 4 month range.
Perfect. So a difference that we see with Daxxify is it typically is lasting people about twice as long as their other toxins. So we would hope with your injections it would last probably close to 6 months. Some people in the studies actually lasted longer than that. To get that long length of treatment, we like to fully treat areas so that you don't wear off in one area faster than you wear off in another area.
Okay.
Which areas did you have treated?
I would do like my crow's feet, my glabella, and then across my whole forehead. So I always feel like my crow's feet kind of wore off maybe a little bit faster.
Perfect. Do you know about how many units they used to do?
I think 145.
Okay, that sounds about right for a good treatment with Dysport. So I think you were getting dosed correctly. I'm going to hand you this mirror and we'll kind of look at things together. So go ahead and frown for me and through there. So you can see you're frowning a little bit. So we would definitely inject in through this area and through here, and that would give us some tightening and lifting, which that looks great with your big eyes. I would definitely put a little bit in your lateral brow.
Okay.
That fixes a lot of that height, sinking of the eyelid that we get as we get older. And then smile real big for me. Perfect. And I agree. I would full treat around here so that hopefully we can get rid of this little creasy line in there and out through there and tighten that whole eye structure. Foreheads tend to be a little more difficult because the trick with those is we don't want foreheads to be heavy. So our goal is not to do that. It's to keep you lifted, but then also keep lines from forming. So go ahead and lift your eyebrows for me. And you've kind of got little lines all over. So one thing that we've noticed different about Daxxify is its spread isn't quite as much as the other toxins on the market.
Okay.
So we'll probably, and what I would like to do is do a little bit less, like a couple units in a lot of little spaces, so that we can treat that whole area without doing like one injection where that whole area gets immobilized, but then you start to wrinkle around it too. So if you're okay to do that, I'll go ahead and put some little dots on you just to kind of show people the areas that we're talking about treating. I don't always do that, but since we're kind of educating people in this, if that's okay.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect.
So we're going to go ahead and put some little marks on you just so everyone can see the areas that we treat. Each of these in the glabella will typically be about 8 units of Daxxify. And then this area on lateral brow, that can vary from person to person on how much we put in those areas. But for her, we're gonna do 4 units, and then smile real big for me. Perfect. So we're gonna adjust this area here, and this area here, and smile one more time. Perfect. So we're trying to get this whole muscle group here where she's got those little smile lines that happen. Bridget has great skin. It's just with movement, she makes those little lines. So one thing we have to consider in her forehead is putting some way up high up here. Raise your eyebrows for me. And I think you've had some up high before, haven't you? So we're gonna go ahead and actually put 2 units of Daxxify right up here in that hairline so that we don't get any awkward little spots. All right, let me get a different color here. So these are gonna be green, doesn't mean anything different. Okay, raise up again for me. And then we're gonna put just a little bit and a little bit. Perfect. And again, in foreheads, our goal is not to make it heavy. It's just to keep these lines from showing up. So the Daxxify in this glabellar area will keep these lower forehead lines pretty stable. And we want to really keep our Daxxify up in the forehead up high so that we have more lifting and tightening rather than that heavy appearance that we can get. And we can always make adjustments after about 2 to 3 weeks. It should kick in pretty quickly for you. Patients are telling us that within about 24 hours, they're feeling some tightening and actually seeing some decreased movement, which is pretty exciting. But then at 2 to 3 weeks, you should have full immobilization of those areas and would want to see you back at that point to make any changes. Awesome. So I'm going to start right near glabella, a little pinch. Perfect. Not bad? Good. So, pinch. And for those of you who've never had toxins or haven't looked at yourself right after an injection, these little bumps are totally normal. They dissipate into the skin within about 5 to 10 minutes. So typically when people are out in their cars, they're not seeing those anymore. Smile real big for me. Perfect. Relax. All right, so we're done with our treatment. How was that for you?
Great. It didn't feel any different than any time I've had injections before.
Awesome. No burning, stinging, anything weird?
None at all.
Fantastic. It's usually a pretty easy treatment. So if you're one of our lucky ones, within 24 hours, hopefully you'll start to see some difference, but we'll definitely recheck her in about 2 weeks and get some after photos. For the rest of the day today, you can wash your face as normal. You can apply makeup later if you want to. And then tomorrow, all normal activity is completely fine.
Perfect.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you guys so much for attending this event with us. Hopefully you had a little fun and were able to learn a few things.
All of our giveaway winners will be notified by phone or by email.
Make sure to reply yes to your text message that you get from us, and then we will contact you tomorrow to schedule your appointment or your consultation.
And would also love you to stick around for just a little bit longer. We're going to have time to take some questions and hopefully answer any lingering ideas that you have about Daxxify. Bye.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight. We hope you learned a little bit so far about Daxxify. We've all used it on patients, and we've used it on quite a few staff members as well. So far, we're super, super excited about it. I know there's a bunch of questions that are starting to roll in, so we'll kind of take turns answering some of those as we see them pop up. Leslie, you want to take one?
Sure. So let me see what we've got going on here. So it says, how soon does Daxxify go into effect? Do I have to wait 4 or 5 days like Botox? So typically we have patients who first time Daxxifyers come back in about 2 to 3 weeks, so we can check and see how you're doing, how we placed it, if you might need more. And then typically we found that our patients so far have been even seeing seeing the results of Daxxify between 24 to 48 hours. So pretty quick.
Yep, and I think that's universal for all of us, which is pretty exciting. We never want to wait for our treatments to see our results. So let's see. And we've got one, can I get RHA filler and Daxxify in the same appointment? Definitely you can. We love to do that. It minimizes some downtime that people have. A lot of times we'll put some numbing on you for your filler, go draw up your Daxxify, get your fillers ready, and by the time we're ready to come back in, you're ready to be injected, and we can get it all done in one day. And once your swelling with your filler goes down, your Daxy's kicking in and everything's looking great.
There's another question. What can I do to prevent bruising before my appointment? So just like with any other of your neurotoxins or with your filler, of course, don't drink a Monster or a Red Bull on your way in. But then if you are on any optional like aspirin or ibuprofen, stop those a week beforehand. It's always a risk that you could bruise. We obviously try not to bruise you. But if you do end up with bruising, you can take some arnica, and that will help with that.
Definitely. There's arnica topical too that we like sometimes, cream and gel form, and then also the oral form too.
I have had a patient say she eats pineapple
I've
beforehand,
heard that too.
so
I've heard that
I don't
too.
know, that might be something you can try if you're an easy bruiser.
Yes.
We do
And
another
then,
one.
sure.
All right. Do I have to wait for my Botox to be gone to get Daxxify? That answer, I would say yes. I would wait for your Botox to be gone before we even attempt to put Daxxify in.
Mm-hmm. And it's not because it wouldn't necessarily mix together, but we wouldn't re-Botox someone while their Botox is still working unless we needed to do a touch-up with that too. Another question, can I get Daxxify for teeth grinding? So that we're talking about masseter muscles. The toxins that we already had in the market, specifically Botox. A lot of people have used that for it. Daxxify doesn't have the FDA approval for it, but we all feel very, very comfortable injecting it in that area. And I actually have done it on several patients so far.
Is this connected to Alley? So not directly. So Alley is from the company of Allergan. This is not an Allergan product. It's a Revance product. You can still accrue points through Ally, but of course, any points that you have or dollars that you have on Ally, you cannot use for your Daxxify treatment. So yes, you get a little bit of points, but no, you can't use it towards your treatment costs.
Correct. And then this is a great one. Have any of you had Daxxify yet? So yes, we actually all have. I have had it in my neck, in my platysmal bands. I get really bandy in my neck. My kids love to make fun of it with me. And I've had it in my chin. My face, unfortunately, I had just put Botox in about 2 weeks before we got Daxxify in our hands. So where do you have it?
I have it through my glabella, through the crow's feet, and up in my forehead. I honestly love it so far. My crow's feet is what I feel ages me, and I don't have any.
No, none at all. None at all. And how about you, Casey?
I do have Daxxify. I have it in my glabella, and I noticed it kicked in rather quickly. I feel like it was like 48 hours. I noticed it. Now that I kind of hit a peak, and then like it was really frozen for almost a little too frozen for a little bit, but then of course that lasted like 24 hours. But I've been happy with it, since I got it. So I really like this product.
Yeah, I do too. And again, we had talked about it before, but we say it kicks in pretty quick, but we want to give it that good 2 to 3 week period for everything to even out so that we can see if we need to make any adjustments too. And as it said in the video, we find that we need to sometimes make a lot of little injections, more so than you might be used to. But we all know that. We know how to account for that change too. You guys want to talk about cost? We're getting a lot of questions on cost, so I can take that. So what I usually say to people is the units in, like, we'll take Botox. Botox and Daxxify don't equate equally. They're different products. They're very similar, and we get the end result the same, but they're different. Kind of like taking a Tylenol or an Advil. They both take away your headache, but they have different milligrams to use. So typically, if you're getting 40 units of Botox, which is kind of a standard amount, kind of in the middle, that would cost you $520. If you were using Daxxify for that, it would be $800. So a little bit more, it's about 50% more. But if you think of it and your Daxxify lasts you longer and you only have to do it twice a year versus your Botox 4 times a year, you're actually saving quite a bit of money. So it does pay off in the end. We haven't been using it long enough to see that length, because some people that have had it longer have found that it lasts even up to 9 months in some people. I'm not going to promise you that until we see how things go, and every person's going to vary person to person. But if you would think of it as doing it twice a year, your cost comes out ahead in the long run. And let's see, price again, that kind of talked about it. And there's a question about if we would use Daxxify and other neurotoxins together. You could, but I don't know why you would. So then you'd be in every 3 months anyway, because none of the other toxins on the market last longer than 3 months. So say you're putting Daxxify in your glabella and Botox in your forehead's going to wear off in 2 to 3 months. So you're coming back in anyway. So I would keep it all in the same family. It makes a lot more sense.
And you're going to get more longevity out of your Daxxify if everything is frozen for that much longer versus half as long as, having Botox that wears off in 3 months versus your Daxi in 6 months. So.
Yes.
Can Dax be used for bunny lines on your nose and in the chin? And the answer is yes.
Yes. So bunny lines are these, and then chin, sometimes we'll do, I actually have Daxxify in my chin, so I can't do it. Sometimes people will get little pebbly, marbly look like from that muscle. Yes, that's it. You need Daxxify in your chin. And I need it in my bunny lines. But yes, it can be used any place that we put Botox. We're very comfortable using in all those areas.
So there is a question on there about if someone is a good candidate. So that is best for you to come in and do a consult with us, and then we'll be able to tell you if you really are a good candidate or not.
Definitely. Mm-hmm. And there's some questions about age and if there would be a good candidate too. Age really doesn't play that big of a factor if you would be a great candidate for Daxxify versus Botox, because honestly, in our world, everyone's a great candidate for both of them. It's more on what fits your needs, what fits your pocketbook, the areas we're treating, and the length of time that you want it to last that you're comfortable with.
Yeah, and I saw on there, somebody said she had never had them before. I would almost recommend doing a shorter term injectable first, though, just so you can see what you like, and then move to the Daxi.
And make people comfortable with
Yeah.
it to make sure that you like it. Yes. One other area we didn't talk about yet. Great question. Can we do it in the lip area? Yep. I did it twice today for somebody, but that is not a filler. So that's where your difference is with a toxin and a filler. A filler is going to add volume to your lips. I have filler in my lips. Daxi or the toxins keep you from being able to purse your lips like this. And so that helps those lines. Do you have it in your lip at all? Do you? I don't either. We all have filler instead. But it'll help keep you from getting little smoker lines. But yes, we can do it in that area.
And that's what people call a lip flip, because it actually flips your lip so that you see more of the pink part of your lip. And then it appears like you have a more full lip without having to put filler in your lip.
Yes. And some people are great candidates for it, and some people are not great candidates for it. But when you come in for a consult, we're all very honest in what we think will work. Sometimes it's not a great idea, and we'll tell you that too. Oh, that's a great one for you. You talk about this one a lot.
I do. It says, does overworking out metabolize it quicker? So I do talk about this a lot with patients. So if you're somebody that drinks a lot of Monster, energy drinks, Red Bull, take pre-workouts or any stimulants, all of those things are artificially stimulating your metabolism. So yes, you're going to run through your product quicker. Now, there are some neurotoxins that you're gonna run through a little bit quicker versus others, you know, kind of depending on those things that you do. Now with Daxi, we haven't found that you're going to run through it quicker if you do all of those things that I said. But that's with any neurotoxin, you just have to think you're probably going to go through it quicker because your metabolism is so high, you're just metabolizing it out that much quicker. Correct. So you might not get the longevity out of it like some other people will that don't, you know, do the pre-workouts, the stimulants and energy drinks and all of that. Now, I do have a lot of people ask like, oh, well, I drink a lot of coffee. Well, coffee and soda are fine. It's the drinks that have your daily allotment of caffeine in one of them, and people take multiple of them a day, you're going to run through your neurotoxin quicker, no matter what kind it is.
Exactly. And that actually goes for fillers too. RHA, Juvederm, any of those. We do know that people that have an extremely high metabolism, whether naturally or because of workouts and things, will run through their fillers a little bit faster too.
Yep.
Want to do that one?
Sure. Let's see. So I schedule my Botox before I leave for next time. How would you suggest determining when to schedule Daxxify? So if you're scheduling for your Botox, I would say that depending on how long you can hold on to that Botox, I would schedule it allotted time for you to run through that before we inject the Daxi. So if you can hold on for 3 months, I would say schedule in 3 months.
Well, and I was thinking she meant how long would you say for Daxi, since we don't know how long it will last.
Sorry. Probably.
Yeah.
I read that wrong.
That's okay.
So if you can hold on to a neurotoxin for 3 months, then I would say you should be able to hold on to Daxi for 6. You might even be able to hold on to it for up to 9. It just kind of depends.
And what I would like to have people do really is plan on it being 6 months. But if you notice at 5 months, you're starting to wiggle all over, you know you're losing your lift, your crow's feet are starting to show back up, call in. One of the 3 of us can almost always work you in within a few days. And we can look at it to see if we need to re-inject it at that time. And at that same note, if you're scheduled for 6 months out and you have 0 movement, I would call and schedule it a month later, and you could keep doing that until you see that it's starting to have some movement too. It doesn't mean that you have to be totally back at baseline, but we need to at least see a little bit of movement going on so that we know that it's starting to wear out and we don't overdo it.
So there is one. Is there a difference in results for men between Daxxify and any other toxin?
I don't think the results are different. Sometimes with men, I think we go up in the doses just a little bit, especially in their glabella, because men tend to have a little bit stronger muscle structure. But I don't think our results would be any different.
I don't think so either.
No. And that's some good ones. Do you want to talk about? We'll tell you about the promotions too. I don't know if we mentioned that yet. We need to say that.
So everyone in attendance tonight, you can, the deal for you guys or the promotion for you guys is if you
purchase 80 units, you receive 20 units complimentary, and if you purchase 100 units, you receive 30 units complimentary. Now, that will run through end of day tomorrow. Our phones go off at 4 o'clock. So just as long as we're in contact with you by end of day tomorrow, you can get it on that promotion.
Yes.
And I was just gonna say, as a reminder, so you'll also be receiving a text message. So please reply to that with the code word JOY in order to be contacted by a consultant.
And one of the girls can call you back and kind of stimulate that for you too. But feel free to call us as well. And I know it sounds kind of crazy to think, oh gosh, 130 units, that sounds like a lot. It's really not for some people, especially if our people are getting 60, 70 units of Botox, and you kind of think it's almost a double. It doesn't equate exactly, but it's really not that big of a stretch on how much you would be purchasing at that point.
I feel like my patients are averaging anywhere from about 70 to 100 units with Daxxify. So some of it is, kind of correlates to their Botox, and some people it doesn't.
Yeah.
So just kind of keep that in mind too.
I've done a couple 104s, 120s, 128s in the last day or two as well.
Yeah,
that's
so
pretty normal.
And if you are already on the schedule for your Botox or your Xeomin, like your next neurotoxin, and you think that you would like to try Daxi, of course, we can talk to you about it at that appointment. And, we'll go through all of that with you at that time, and then we can decide which one you want to do, and we can go from there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then somebody's asking cost per unit. So like we talked about, it doesn't equate exactly to units with Botox. You could kind of put it in your head that 1 unit would be about $10. But again, it's a different unit per unit than Botox. So, and if I had mentioned it before, if you normally get 40 units of Botox, it's $520. If you would get roughly 80 units of Daxi, it would be $800.
It's definitely not an apples to apples thing, but that's for us to figure out. We can talk to you guys about that, of course, at your appointments. And then somebody just said on here, asked a question about the promotion. So if you do get in on that promotion, yes, you can hang on to that until your Botox does wear off, and then we can treat you with Daxi when you come in then for what would be like your next Botox treatment. We can talk to you about it, and you can definitely have treatment at that time.
Yes, for sure, for sure. Perfect. And somebody said, kind of on that line, if you purchase either the 80 or 100 and don't require that amount at your appointment, how does that work? We would just hold the rest of it. So say you only, I'm just going to pick a number, you used 40 units of Daxxify and you had 40 left or 60 left, I guess would be the promo. We would save that for your next time. So you wouldn't be out of the money, you would just have some left over.
And that would just sit on your account for when you're ready for it.
Yes, definitely. Yes. I don't think we said cheers.
No.
We have a glass of champagne. We're not even drinking it right now. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
I missed you.
Sounds good. Let's see if any other questions are coming in. Do you guys have any other questions? Let's see. Oh, I can't get the mouse to move. Where'd it go? There it is. All right. Promotion. Talked about working out. Any long-term effects that have been identified with this medicine? No. Daxxify had the most in-depth research studies done on it of any of the toxins on the market. And I actually think it was any of the toxins on the market combined. They injected thousands of patients. They found nothing showing up that was anything different than the things that we might normally see with a toxin, like a bruise, a dropped eyelid. But they actually found that the dropping of the eyelid was less frequent with Daxxify. And we think that's because, like we hit on before, where the spread isn't as much. So we're not seeing it migrate to any other areas and cause any problems. Medical-wise, Daxxify hasn't gotten any medical approvals for things. Botox on the market specifically has a lot of other medical indications that are FDA approved. So if you have anything like migraines or paralysis issues, spasms, those types of things, usually that goes through a neurologist. They typically can submit things for reimbursement through insurance that way. I'm not going to say that we would or wouldn't do any of those injections, but typically we try to siphon those through medical. Let's see. Comparable. I think we got all these. No contraindications, right? There's nothing that I know of. Anything for you?
Because it has no animal byproducts in it.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Difference of Botox and Daxxify. Who wants to take that one?
I'll take that one. So the main difference between the two is that with Botox, it has a preservative, which is like its vehicle basically. So Botox has a preservative and Daxxify has a peptide. So a peptide is what is hanging onto that muscle and getting you your longevity out of it.
And we also know that the uptake into that muscle is quicker with Daxxify, and we think that's why it absorbs more and it lasts longer. There's less wash away of it, which is partly the reason why we don't see the spread with it too.
Yes.
And let's see. Do you guys have any other questions? Price. I think we got all these. And jaw area, I'm assuming that means for masseters. And yes, we do that there. We use it in neck muscles, chin, bunny lines, crow's feet, forehead, glabella.
Pretty much anywhere we've treated you with one of our other traditional neurotoxins, we can treat with Daxxify.
Yes. And then goes into effect pretty quickly. Filler along with it, yes. All right, I think we might have answered everybody's questions. Let's see if one came in. Oh, logged in late, what's the price? Go ahead if you want to say that again.
Oh gosh. So price of this.
Or the promotion.
You mean promotion or price?
We'll go over both.
Okay, well, I'll talk about the promotion. I'm good
There
at that. So the promotion is purchase 80 units, get 20 units complimentary, purchase 100 units and receive the 30 units complimentary. So with that, it ends tomorrow at 4 o'clock. That does not mean you need to have your treatment tomorrow. That just means you need to purchase your promotion by end of day tomorrow. And then that will sit in your account until you're ready to use that when it's time to get your treatment.
Exactly. And if you're ready, call in. When you're calling in, we'll get you a consult set up with one of us too. And then if you were wondering price, I don't know if you were specifically meaning how it compares to Botox or the other toxins. It is about 50% higher, but you're only getting injections typically twice a year. Let's see, what else? Anybody got anything else? That was the last of the questions.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, I guess we can say thank you guys for joining us. This was so fun. And hopefully we'll see you guys all in the office really, really soon.
Yes.
Awesome.
Bye.
Bye.